right, the first free agency news to drop. Nneka Ogwumike has announced that she is leaving the Sparks. She informed the Sparks on Wednesday that she would not be returning. She's sent out a thank you tweet to all the fans and everything else. In this video, I want to look at where the Sparks are now after this announcement, as well where Nneka is likely to go. So look at the teams that she has met with thus far as well. Take a look at their salary cap space, as I think that gives a key clue of where her next location will be, and maybe Diggins Smith as well. Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel as well. If you find the video of value, please give it a like. All right, let's get into this. So first of all, the Sparks, where does this leave them? So obviously, Ogwumike is leaving, which probably means her sister is leaving too. Fortunately for them, they have the number 2 pick in the draft, and all signs appear they are drafting Cameron Brink. There's no discussion, or it seems very unlikely that Paige Bueckers is going into the WNBA draft. Brink has not said anything, but you would think she would declare for the draft, as being a big in college basketball sucks because everybody zones you, and you touch anybody, they flop, and you get fouled out. As Brink is well aware of, as she's always in foul trouble. Now, what we don't know yet is, did the Sparks look to get Ogwumike to take a pay cut? She was on just under $200K last season. Were they trying to get more players? And, you know, she was like, no, I'm not returning for that. Because ideally, it would have been a nice little mentor thing. Ogwumike, Stanford girl, mentoring Brink, the new Stanford girl, and passing the torch, and here we go. What is clear, though, is it appears the rebuild is on for the Sparks as they court Jordan Canada, but ESPN is reporting that sources say that she's seeking a sign and trade. So is this the start of sort of a rebuild for the Sparks? Quite likely. But the other question we won't know for a while is essentially, is Ogwumike leaving for better opportunities and a chance to win another title, and she just feels the Sparks have been a tire fire all those years. I think they've had like 6 coaches in 12 years. I mean, my God, she lived through the Derek Fisher years, for God's sakes, and all the free agents they've lost and all the mistakes they've made, you know, but I don't know. Or did the Sparks not come with a number that she liked? It's either one of those two. It does look like the Sparks have a good structure in place. They recently hired their new GM to go along with Kurt Miller that has experience, but, and really, if you look at it analytically, a rebuild like they're doing is great. Get a couple of core players in through the draft. Brink would be one, and then set up for next year to get another core player, and you get those at a low salary, and then you have LA and can fill in with free agents. I think it's a smart long-term play by the organization if that's what track they're going down. As I think 1 year of a lot of pain is better to set you up for long-term gain. I mean, just ask the Indiana Fever. If Caitlin Clark comes out, they are set and loaded for the next 5 to 7 years, as they'll be able to core the players they have. That is the way to go, in my opinion. And I guess that leads me to the meetings that Ogwumike has had. So thus far, she has met with the Sparks, obviously, the Atlanta Dream, Phoenix Mercury, Chicago Sky. She also intends to meet with the Seattle Storm and New York Liberty. Now, first, let's go through these and see what the options or likely options are. First, with the Liberty, we won't know. It depends on what they're doing with Jonquel Jones. So if they re-sign Jones, then I don't see any way that she's going to the Liberty, but never say never. You know, I don't trust these teams in their cap management and who they can squeeze under, but that would seem doubtful. If Jones does sign with somebody else, then yeah, New York is definitely in the game, no doubt. Seattle Storm, I just don't see it. At least I think, in my opinion, if they're smart, they need to rebuild. What's the point of getting a 33-year-old center when you're a few players away? I just don't see the point of it. Now, the 2 teams that she met with, she's met with 3, but I put 2 in the same category. That would be the Phoenix Mercury and Chicago Sky. These are draft day losers, as they gave away all their draft capital via the Mabry trade. The Mercury, by the way, were involved in that because they were dumping Diamond DeShield's salary so they could re-sign Sophie Cunningham. The year before, they'd given up a number 1 draft pick to get Diamond DeShield, so not real great on their part. And looking at Phoenix, I just don't see how she would go to Phoenix Mercury. Their cap is not great. So essentially, the Mercury have 633K in cap room, but they have 5 roster spots to fill. So I just don't see how that could be enticing for her, because she would get 200K, which would leave 400 left to fill the other 4 roster spots they need to fill. And they would have to go minimum veterans probably at around 73K. And their roster construction is basically not good at this stage, as they have Taurasi on 234 this season as well. Sophie Cunningham is on 150. Turner is on 150. Jefferson's on 141. Yeah, they just don't have the space. I don't see why they would be that good. You know, if they spend all their money on bringing Ogwumike in and combining her with Brittany Griner, who reportedly wants to return, they've got nothing. I just don't see it. And the Chicago Sky, they're in the same situation, so they're screwed. Thank you, James Wade, who traded all their draft capital away. They only have 511K in cap space and have 4 spots to fill. So once you give her, if let's say she signed for 208K, that would only leave like 359 in cap space left. So it'd be hard to bring anybody else in. I just don't see her leaving LA to take that deal in Chicago. And, well, that leaves Atlanta, and I think that is a nice landing spot for her. I don't know if she's had chats with Diggins Smith or not, but Atlanta has 616K in cap space. They are required to fill 3 to 4 roster spots, so they could get away with 3. I mean, do the math. So they could sign Diggins Smith and her both around 200K and still have money over to get a good reserve, 1 reserve, or they could go 2 players at minimum if they wanted to bring in 4 players. And that would get you a good lineup. So you would have Cheyenne Parker, Alicia Gray, Ari McDonald could come off the bench, Ryan Howard, as well as Haley Jones. The rookie had some good minutes last year, and then combine that with Ogwumike and Diggins Smith. I mean, that's a lot of fun. So I bet Atlanta fans would be sort of salivating at the thought of that. That would really set them up quite well. The organization, by all accounts, is rebuilding in the right way. Like, they had some positive articles after the disaster season when Nikki Collin left, like, in training camp, and then they had the video come out of the fight with Courtney Williams, and then Kennedy Carter was suspended midway through the season. The new regime was able to switch, get a number 1 draft pick off of Derek Fisher for Kennedy Carter to give. Unbelievable what Fish did. But anyway, that would be my take. I think that's the best landing spot. The numbers fit, and yes, I have Ogwumike going to Atlanta, and as well, I think Diggins Smith might go there as well, based on just my hunch of where things are, essentially. Anyway, your thoughts, poison, comments, always welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video. Good night.